Good morning, welcome to my morning, welcome to my skincare routine. I have actually started a new skincare routine. This was one of my pre-2020 goals. I said, it's time to get a big girl, grown up skincare routine. No more using the body wash on the face. So that is exactly what I did. I'm no expert. I literally took a quiz online and just ordered the first thing they recommended, but I will put on screen what I have been using. This is not sponsored in any way. I ordered it at the start of the year. It was very, very delayed in arriving, but my main goal was to just even the texture of my skin because I have struggled on and off with milia, like those little pimple looking things that you can't pop, but then when you run your hand on your skin, you're like, oh, I can feel ya. So I've been liking this, but today I'm taking you through a vlog. I'm gonna share a band workout. I'm gonna share the zucchini bread recipe I promised you, and I finally get to reveal my secret, not so secret, because I think some of you have already guessed it, project that I'm quite nervous about. Normally when I'm working on something, I am very secretive about it. Whether that is a personal goal or a business goal, I will wait until it is 100% done, it's 100% finished, it is 100% perfect to put it out into the world. And there are a few reasons for this, but I think the main one is that it is very scary to publicly commit to a goal, especially when you're not sure if it's gonna work out. Which, how crazy is that? Because if you set a goal in the first place, that's obviously something that's important to you, that's obviously something that you want to work towards. And so I feel like the amount of self-doubt that so many of us just walk around with, like carry with us throughout the day, to the point that we don't even feel comfortable communicating our goals, communicating, I haven't had water yet, communicating the things that are important to us, because we're afraid of failing. And so we stay playing small, we stay in our comfort zone, we never publicly commit to anything, and we end up missing out on so many opportunities that could make us so happy and so fulfilled. One positive that has come out of 2020 is that I feel like all of this chaos has given me permission to not be perfect. I used to tell myself things like progress over perfection, something is always better than nothing. I would repeat it, and I would make it a screensaver, and I would make it a wallpaper, and I would write it down, and I would try to believe it. And still, it's like it just flew right over my head, right? There was some part of me that was still clinging to that idea of perfection. And I don't know what experience or insecurity or issue in my head that was tied to, but I feel like all of this chaos has given me clarity. I feel like I've had a vision, and I've finally been able to embrace this mindset and accept that it's okay to start from where you're at. It's okay to do your best. It's okay to not be the best. That's a really big one. You don't have to discredit other people's success, and you don't have to justify your own success or your own lack of success if you're not where you want to be yet. The reality is that everybody has privileges and experiences and lives that have led them up until where they're at right now. And so even you might look at somebody else's life and be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so lame. That is them, and this is you. You do not change your life by sitting on the sidelines. You change it by showing up. So I am on one this morning. Clearly, I have not had water. I have not had coffee. We are hitting walls now, but that is going to be a big theme of today's video. So today I'm going to be taking you through a 20-minute hit it workout that you will actually be seeing the full version of on the Team Plans channel next week as part of the Made to Move It challenge. But I figured I would take you through this because before recording any of my workout videos, I always do a test run to work out any of the kinks, to make sure the exercises make sense, the form cues are all good, I'm not just like babbling through the recording. So I figured I would take you through that process this morning, showing you how I test our workouts, how I select our exercises, why I select our exercises the way I do, as well as some fun little sciencey facts about each exercise and how I've structured the workout. I will be adding a band to today's HIIT workout because the name of the game with 20-minute hit it is power and endurance. We are trying to move fast during our intervals and then sustain that speed across our workout. There are a lot of buzzwords when it comes to training, things like power, athletic, functional, all these things that people aspire to achieve or aspire to be, but there's not a lot of information about how to actually become more powerful, how to actually become more athletic, how to actually move better in your body beyond just do this workout and do it because I said to do it. So in order to better understand what helps you become powerful, the formula for power is work over time.
Work equals force times distance, like my engineering, hello. Where force describes the energy required to move your body weight plus any external weights through the range of motion. Distance describes the range of motion of each rep, and time describes how long it takes you to complete that range of motion. With 20-minute hit it, we're already moving as fast as we can, so as much as time is a variable, it's not really. If you're moving as fast as you can, like, we can't go faster than that, you know? Same goes for distance. We're already selecting exercises that have us going through a full range of motion, so that's kind of fixed as well. But with force exertion, we have a real opportunity to increase our force, increase our power, and use that as our variable to become more powerful with these workouts. The way that most people will achieve this is by adding a bunch of high impact, hard on your joints, jumping movements to the workout, which while that technically increases your force exertion, it can kind of hurt, especially if your form breaks down as you go through your workout because you're starting to fatigue. It's a lot easier to hurt yourself when you've got jumping movements in a workout, which is why I like low impact, high intensity versions of HIIT. This is where the band really comes in because it allows you to increase your force exertion on exercises without increasing your impact and while still optimizing for that power equation. HIIT does not need to hurt. HIIT does not need to be high impact. I know, like, if you do a search on YouTube, pretty much all of it is, but we are gonna change that.
All right, so we're starting our workout with a variation of the knee drive. The reason I like the knee drive, especially as one of the first exercises in the workout, is because it gets that coordination going between the upper body and the lower body. It gets our core going, it gets our hip flexors going, it gets our thighs going. It's a great exercise to immediately get your heart rate up, immediately get the intensity up, especially if you were scrimping on that warm up a little bit. Great exercise to start things off with. Now, the reason I love this exercise with the band is because if you actually look at the exercise, you will see that I'm moving in more than one plane of motion. We're moving front to back, moving side to side. In all planes of motion, this band is going to resist the movement in my lower body. So not only is the band helping me increase my force exertion throughout the entire range of motion of this exercise, but the band can also serve as a helpful form cue because a common mistake when you're rapidly changing directions of movement is that it can highlight if there is any instability in your ankles, in your feet, in your knees, in your hips, anywhere in that kinetic chain, right? So by having the band above your knees, just on your thigh, it's kind of like having a coach there, touching your leg, reminding you, girl, keep those knees strong. Do not let them cave. We are not getting hurt today. Alternating hip hike. I like this exercise. It is a variant of if you've ever seen a fire hydrant exercise where you're in the hands and knees position, you just lift your leg, stare it to the side. It's called a fire hydrant because it's like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. If you've ever seen that, this is like a better version. It has an increased range of motion. What we've also done is we've added stabilization from the other glute because we're not just going up, down, up, down, up, down on one side. We're actually shifting our weight between sides and alternating side to side. That's forcing us, when we lift through this side and we come and shift the weight to this side, what that's forcing us to do is stabilize through this glute before this glute actually lifts up. So it just gives you a little bit more bang for your buck from each rep. But the reason that the band helps with this exercise is because that band loops all the way around our thighs. Of course, it's actively resisting each part of that range of motion, helping to increase our force exertion and make us even more powerful on this movement. Hinge and twist, bit of a funny looking exercise. If you've been doing 20-minute hit it with me for a little bit now, you may remember from a few workouts back from my earlier 20-minute hit it's a pitcher pulse exercise. It was kind of confusing. It involved hip rotation. It was designed to target your glute max. This is an improvement, this is a revision to that exercise to make it easier to follow along with, to make it just more effective overall. So the reason I like this exercise, while it may look like a lateral squat as I'm loading up for each rep, what we're actually doing is we're hinging back, we're sitting back at the hips as we would in a deadlift, but we're adding a slight rotation to the hips so that we're loading up the working side and then we're driving through that right glute to reset and return to that starting position. The main functions of your glute max, your largest glute muscle, the one that lives under your butt cheek, are hip extension, so straightening your hips, as well as controlling hip rotation. So by combining hip extension, bringing our hips back to that neutral position, as well as controlling hip rotation, so unwinding our hips from that loaded up position, we're maximizing the functionality of the glute max in this movement.
movement. The band is not doing much here. A loop resistance band, a band that goes around your thighs, isn't going to do much on any deadlift variation because we're hinging about our hips, right? The band is around our knees. It's controlling the movement about our knees. The only way a band would serve you and actually provide additional resistance to a deadlift exercise is if you were using a long band, you put it around your hips and they secured it to an anchor somewhere behind you. So we're gonna call this one the power bug because it's a variation of the dead bug, which is one of my favorite, most effective core exercises that's great for getting your deep core engaged and teaching you how to properly engage your deep core muscles. The band here, I am a little bit undecided on. On the one hand, it helps to get a little bit of glute engagement from that leg that is moving up and down. As we lower that leg, it's getting a little bit of glute engagement. And what can be helpful about engaging your glutes on core exercises is that your glutes act kind of as opposites to your front of body core muscles. So by engaging your glutes in order to maintain a stable body, it will often help encourage or force your front of body core muscles to engage, which might be helpful. I feel like I need to get a couple more sets with the band to really make up my mind on that one, but that is what I'm thinking. We're getting real frizzy, but alternating power mill, kind of similar to the hinge and twist because we are hinging through our hips to lower down, but we're also adding that rotation through the spine. So it's a slightly different movement, kind of similar, kind of different. Like the movement, again, the band isn't doing a ton of work because it's not actively resisting the line of force, right? We're driving the movement about our hips. The only way that we could actually have a band resist the movement about our hips is if we were using a long band, we had that anchored to some point behind us. That's not what we're doing today, so I'm just keeping the band on for convenience. I feel like this workout is turning into a time lapse of curly hair in the humidity, but deadlift tap to extension, again, it's a variation of that classic hip hinge movement. The reason I like the hip hinge so much is because unlike a squat type movement where you are putting a lot of pressure on your knees and some people have weaker knees, the hip hinge is a lot more gentle. It is a movement that we do in our everyday lives. We bend over, we pick stuff up. So this is just a play on that movement. We're doing a tap down to the ground. We're extending through the upper back, getting our back and shoulders involved, then bringing it back on up. It's a good it's a good movement. The band isn't really doing much here. Again, I'm just leaving it on for convenience because it's less work to like just keep it on, keep it in place, use it as we need to, you know. And last but not least, we have the glute bridge to crunch, which is another exercise I love because again, it plays on those agonist-antagonist muscle pairings. The idea being that if you have a balanced physique, a healthy, strong physique, that there should be a muscle on the back side of your body that corresponds to a muscle on the front side of your body. When the muscles on the back side of your body engage, the muscles on the front side of your body should engage in an equal but opposite manner, right? If one side of your body is stronger than the other, then naturally it would pull you in that direction. So in order to stay upright, in order to have a balanced physique, our muscles have to be roughly balanced in strength and engagement, side to side, front to back. The way this works with this movement is that by doing the glute bridge, we're pre-engaging our glutes. As we lower from the glute bridge and we're getting ready for that crunch, if we keep that engagement in our glutes, that glute engagement on the back of our body is going to encourage more deep core engagement on the front side of our body, which can be helpful as we're going up in that crunch. And where this really gets fun is when we add the band, because when we add the band to a glute bridge, what we're doing as we raise up is we are pushing up and out against the band so that it doesn't make our knees cave in. We're using our abductor, outside of hip or side of hip muscles to push our legs outwards. Whereas when we lower from that glute bridge and we're going into the crunch, what you can do is consciously move your legs together using your adductor muscles, inner thigh muscles that pull your knees together as you lower, keeping them engaged. Those work synergistically with your pelvic floor and with your deep core muscles. So again, we're just using the band as a tool to reinforce engaging the proper muscle groups, reinforce having that proper form, having that proper movement pattern as we go up on the crunch. What is up? Welcome to my car. Welcome to the grocery store parking lot. We are here again. Dun, 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 dun. Jeff is actually in the store. I am obviously in the car because I have run out of sweet potatoes again. We have been here. We've been in the grocery store like 2 or 3 times in the past week because I don't know what's going on with me. I swear, since switching to this low FODMAP diet, I do not know how to grocery shop. I am usually very organized. I usually know exactly what I'm getting. I usually buy a little bit of everything, but because I've been having less variety in my diet lately, I've been eating more of fewer foods. And so things run out really heckin' quick. Like sweet potatoes have been my life source lately because they're essentially unlimited. when it comes to low FODMAP. Not actually unlimited, but you get me. If you're wondering what a FODMAP is, why I am on a diet, I am not trying to lose weight. I like my weight. I don't need to lose weight. I'm very okay with this. I'm very okay with my body. The one thing that I'm not okay with is the bloating that I've been dealing with. It's not kind of the mild, oh, I feel a little bit full at night. It did get to a point where I was waking up in the morning, I was feeling still full, still food undigested. So it's something I'm trying to help resolve my bloating. I explain it more in my last video that I will link somewhere up here or down there, so that if you're curious about the low FODMAP diet, you can learn more about that. I am going to do a more in-depth update on my experience with it closer to the 2-week mark. I didn't want to release like a body update or any conclusive updates before I actually had given it a proper go and my body had a chance to adapt. But for now, secret project time. This is my camera cut out at the least opportune of times. Right as we were getting to the good stuff, my camera overheats, but now we're in an interruption-free zone. It is time to talk about the secret. This is nerve-wracking because when you have a vision that is big, but you only have a little bit of it to show, it can make it feel small, and it can be scary to share that with other people, because this thing that is so important to you, that you've put so much thought and time and effort and love into, to them looks insignificant. What you know is your first step, to them looks like your life's work, and so it can be easy to dismiss, and that's very scary. That runs through my head for sure, at least 100 times a day. But this is me showing up. This is me letting you know. We're releasing bands. The team bands to go with the team plans. There, I said it. It's out. I've released it into the world. Getting off my high horse. What do you think of when you see these bands? You probably think of activating your glutes, growing your glutes, building the booty, Instagram circuits, Instagram fitness. It's all about building the butt. And while these are effective for activating your glutes, you probably don't think of them as a tool to improve your power, improve your stability, minimize muscle imbalances, reinforce and encourage proper form. I know there are a lot of other bands out there. This is not a new idea. This is not a new concept. And this is part of what made me nervous to share this in the first place. But the reality is, if my vision is to make health and wellness accessible, the practice of it, the education behind it, the lifestyle around it, then it doesn't just stop at producing a band that doesn't break on the first try. It doesn't just stop at selling you a band. We have to do better than that. You need more support than that. You need a better brand than that. I could rant for days about my vision and about all the craziness that went into bringing this little band into my hands today, from shipping to sourcing to sustainable mailers to photo shoots following through. It has been sheer chaos to get to this point, but that is not what today's video is about. I will be releasing a more in-depth video next week, but what I want to let you know for now is that when that video releases, we will be doing a pre-sale. The reason that I want to do a pre-sale is because we are completely new to this, and so I have no idea on numbers. I don't know. I don't know how many we need to order. I don't know how many you're gonna want. I know there is no worse feeling than setting an alarm, having the item in your cart, the item literally disappears from your cart. So we're doing everything in our power to avoid that. We will be running a pre-sale from 1 week of that video that I release in the next week. If I know what date that's going live, I'll just put it on screen because I feel like this is confusing, but we'll be running a pre-sale first. In addition to the pre-orders and pre-sales that go in, we will be ordering a small reserve of additional bands to release as part of a general launch. So as soon as our pre-order comes in, your bands will start shipping immediately if you pre-ordered, and at the same time, we'll be going into that general launch. We will not have a lot of bands for general launch. So if you are thinking of getting one, if you watch that video next week when that comes out and are like, yep, this is for me, I would recommend pre-ordering, because it will be a very, very, very small amount that we're releasing as part of the general launch, and I don't want you to miss out on it. I will have more specifics coming in that next video about like how the pre-sale works, shipping, FAQs, all that stuff, but I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight on the thought and the vision behind this, because I usually am very secretive about this stuff, and I don't want to be anymore. I want to share this journey with you. I want to practice what I preach. I want to show you me showing up imperfectly. I don't even know, but I'm really excited about this, and I'm so glad that I get to share it with you. Yes, I spilled oat flour on the ground. I was grinding it. I haven't cleaned it up. There's a Lysol wipe over there. It was me. But yes, we are making zucchini bread right now, because ever since starting this whole low FODMAP thing, I've been snacky. I don't know if it's because I've just been finally digesting my food, and so there's actually room in my stomach to eat, but I have been hungry, sometimes hangry, and really craving bread and chocolate. I am also on the week before my period. I feel like I'm always on the week before my period, so that might be playing a role as well. We're not ruling anything out, but we are gonna make a low FODMAP zucchini bread recipe. It's gonna be fantastic. And I realized I completely forgot to get footage of the finished results, so I will put the pictures that I got on screen now. I just forgot to take the video, but long story short, this recipe definitely turned out. I would say it's not quite a bread, it's more of a bar. It's more dense than a bread. It's more like a blondie, which is just the lighter version of a brownie, and it has kind of a snickerdoodle flavor to it. So I really like how it turned out. I actually liked it so much I remade the recipe with carrots immediately after, so I'm like, if it works with zucchini, do it with carrots. I'm gonna guess the reason these came out more dense is because I used a combination of oat flour and pea protein powder as compared to the traditional all-purpose flour, which both of those flour substitutes, if you wanna call it that, are more absorbent. And so when you use a similar amount, you're going to end up with a denser finished result, which I don't mind in this case, but this is not what I would consider a zucchini bread. So instead, I think I'm gonna call it a snickerdoodle zucchini bar or a snickerdoodle zucchini blondie. I don't know. If you have a better name, comment it down below. I am going to be uploading this to the blog in the next few days at www.theteamlance.com. So maybe if your recipe idea is the one that I pick, I don't know. I don't have anything in mind. You will get clout. Major props. What is up? Welcome to my post-dog walk setup. If you hear chewing in the back at any point, Riker is glaring at me right now because he just took a toy out as I started recording. But this video is getting long, so I feel like I should cut it off, even though I have so much more that I want to share with you. And I'm so excited that I get to share with you. I'm honestly just really happy, like this entire video that I've been filming it, I'm really happy that I'm at a point where I feel more comfortable sharing this stuff, and that we're at a point as a community where I actually feel like I'm keeping you in the loop and I can take you on this journey with me, and we can really do this together as a team. I know when I started my YouTube channel, I was very insecure. I didn't always realize it, but it definitely affected how I showed up. It definitely affected my ability to actually be like raw and real on here and share parts of the journey with you. Like it was just really difficult for me at that point to share things that weren't done, or to share things that were in progress, or to share things that maybe I wasn't the best at. And I won't pretend that I don't have insecurities and like everything's perfect. I definitely do. I just am aware of what my insecurities are and I know how to work with them. Trying new things is always going to be tough. It is always going to be easier to say, why me? Or like, who am I to try that thing? Who am I? Like, really, seriously, there are people who've already done that. But what I've learned is that just because you don't feel great about something, or just because you're nervous about something, that shouldn't affect affect your ability to show up. Just because you don't like something about yourself or your situation shouldn't hold you back from working towards a better situation or a better life for yourself. Showing up takes daily work, whether that is for your fitness, your family, your relationships, your work, like whatever it is, it takes work. There are days that it is very uncomfortable and that it is very hard to take that first step or take that next step. But if it is something that is important to you, then I think that it's worth getting uncomfortable for. It's worth just kind of pushing to get to that little next level, because it probably is going to be very fulfilling for you. So thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.